Hey, Uphill Nighthawks, here we are with Module 1, Lesson 18. I am successful when I can solve multi-step word problems and assess the reasonableness of my answer. So we skip Lesson 17. So if you're like, wait a second, this should be 17. No, we skip 17 and we go right to 18. And then this week you will be taking your end of module test for Module 1. So there will be some review videos instead of my ed puzzles for the rest of the week as well. So we're going to be doing one multi-step word problem together, and then I'm going to give you one multi-step problem to solve on your own. Okay? So for word problems, we really like to use our Foursquare because it just really helps pull out the information. It gets rid of what I like to call the fluff and pushes that aside so we can really focus in on what is it that we're trying to solve. Okay? So I'm going to read you our word problem, and then we're going to work through our Foursquare together. So our first problem says, in 1 year, a factory used 11,650 meters of cotton, 4,950 fewer meters of silk than cotton, and 3,500 fewer meters of wool than silk. How many meters in all were used for the three fabrics? So we have to figure out how many meters in all, but there's going to be some missing pieces that we have to figure out before we can figure that answer out. So that's why it's a multi-step word problem. So our question is, how many meters in all were used of the three fabrics? So that's what we're going to turn into our answer statement first, with a blank answer, so we can really focus in. This is what we have to solve. This is what we're looking for. So it says, how many meters in all were used for the three fabrics? So we would say blank meters in all were used for the three fabrics. And then I'm going to come up to my important information box, and this is where we're going to pull out the important information that we're going to need to solve. So I'm going to look at the first sentence. So it says, in 1 year, a factory used 11,650 meters of cotton. That's going to be important, so I'm going to record that. 11,650 meters of cotton. Okay. The next piece is 4,950 fewer meters of silk than cotton. So I'm going to say silk is 4,950 less than cotton. So I don't know the total amount of silk, but I do know that it's 4,950 less than cotton meters. I'm going to add my unit in there. And then our third is 3,500 fewer meters of wool than silk. So I know that wool is 3,500 meters less than silk. So we still don't know our totals for each of the materials, but we do know our total for cotton. So we can represent this in a tape diagram to kind of show our thinking. So our first one that we know for sure is cotton. And we know that that value is 11,650 meters. And then we have silk and we have wool. And what do we know about the silk? We know that the silk is 4,950 meters less than cotton. So it's going to be smaller than cotton. And the amount that's less than is 4,950. And then for our wool, sorry, that light's kind of right on there. This says 4,950. That's our silk difference than the cotton. And then our wool we know is less than silk. and it is 3,500 less than. Okay, so we're gonna have to do a few different things for us to find out how many meters of fabric we used in all. So I'm gonna need to know the total for each. So step one would be, how much silk did they use? So to find out how much silk they would use, if it's 4,950 less, then I'm gonna subtract that from my silk total. So my silk total is, making sure you can see me, 11,650. And I would subtract 4,950. So I'm going to set my problem up. 0 minus 0, 5 minus 5, 6 minus 9. I'm going to have to borrow. My 1 is going to become a 0. My 6 is going to become a 16. 0 minus 4, I'm going to have to borrow. So that's going to become 10. And my 10,000 is going to become 0. So now I can subtract. So 0 minus 0, 5 minus 5, 16 minus 9, and 10 minus 4. So 6,700, this is our silk total. So now you can say, well, 6,700, that's how many meters of silk they used. So we have two totals of our fabrics, but we need all three before we can find out how many meters in all were used for the three fabrics. So what do we know about the wool? We know that the wool is 3,500 meters less than silk. So now that we know our silk total, we can subtract our wool total from the silk. So 6,700, 3,500. We're going to subtract those two. So we're going to set our problem up first. We don't need to do any borrowing. We have enough on the top. So 0 minus 0, 0 minus 0, 7 minus 5 would be 2, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So now we know that the wool was 3,200 meters. So our cotton was 11,650. Our silk, 6,700. And our wool was 3,200. So now that we know each of our totals, I'm going to come back down here and regroup and look at what am I trying to do? What is my missing piece of my answer statement? So blank meters in all were used for all three fabrics. So I'm trying to figure out the total of all those three. So to find the total of something, we're going to use addition. So we were trying to find the difference, and now we get to use addition. So because I have these numbers recorded and I need a little bit more room, I'm going to erase that. But normally we would want to leave all of our work to check, double check ourselves. So if I have 11,650 and 6,700, you could stack all three up if you wanted to. You could do two at a time and then add one more, whatever you're feeling comfortable with. I'm just going to add them all at the same time. And I'm confident you could do the same. So now we can add them all together. Okay, 0, 0, and 0 gives me 0. 5, 0, and 0. 5. 6 plus 7 is going to give me 13. Plus 2 more is 15. Carry the 1. Bring down the 5. 1, 2 plus 6 gives me 8. 8 plus 3 would give me 11. Carry the 1. Bring down the 1. And then 1 plus 1 would give me 2. So 21,550 meters of silk were used. Okay, and then I came back to my answer statement. I plugged that one, my total amount, into my final statement. And you can always double check it by going back through your work, making sure you subtract it correctly, make sure you decomposed and borrowed correctly, make sure you're place values were lined up correctly before you subtract or added. It's really important. Word problems, especially if there's multiple steps, you may do one, maybe you just subtracted this and you thought that was the answer that was done, but you need to look at your answer statement. What were the total amounts for all 3 fabrics? Okay, so really double check yourself and make sure that you are answering the question completely and not partially doing the problem. That's what I'm noticing on the past ed puzzles with word problems is we're doing step 1 and we're putting that answer in as our final answer, but we still have 2 or maybe 3 steps before we get to the final answer. So really be careful. Make sure that you are completing it completely. I'm going to post a problem for you to do. I want you to do it with the word or with the Foursquare, okay? Because it's a multi-step problem, meaning you're going to have to do more than one thing to find the answer. All right? Good luck. You can do it. You can rewind this video as many times as you need to. You can come back through it to double check and see what I did, if that'll help you with your problem. Okay? All right. Have a great day. Keep being awesome.